Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, how are we getting on? Welcome to a brand new Fallout London video. So, it turns out I was right. They did try and get the hotfix out before the weekend. Maybe I should go and buy a lottery ticket. Anyway, we have the hotfix, as I say, the first of the series of updates that the Team FOLON devs are planning for Fallout London, which is really, really cool. This one is primarily focusing on crashes and incorporating the Buffout 4 mod into the Fallout London mod, so you won't have to install that separately, as well as a whole bunch of other quest fixes as well, or the first part of that. So we're going to have a look at the installing notes here, as well as what else they're changing. I'm not going to go through absolutely everything, we'll be here half the evening, but we should get the general gist of it. So, we are here on the Fallout London Discord, so I'll make sure I link to the Fallout London website, where you can find the link to the Discord down below, so that should get you through here if you want to come over yourself. But we have, of course, the update available. We've got some notes here on how to update, if you want to take a look at that. Basically, if you're on GOG, it's fairly simple. You just need to update Fallout London from your GOG library, hit the play button, and then follow the update path in the Fallout London launcher. It'll sort of walk you through it, and then you've got a couple of bits to do on the end, which is finding your Fallout 4 install folder after you've done it, and running the London World Space-clearup.bat file so that it gets rid of a load of junk that you don't need anymore, and apparently they can't do that automatically, so they have to add a thing for it. There you go, that's that. There are a bunch of notes that we can see right here about conditions wherein you may wish to sort of be aware of before you update. So I've got things like if you've passed certain quest points that are listed here, I'll let you go through them, then you may want to back things up and follow the instructions included here. So it's probably a good point to pause and have a look through that, or as I say, go and find it on the Fallout London Discord. There's a specific patches section under the information part of the Discord server. So, if you are running it through Steam, you should probably just have to do the same sort of thing in order to install this update as you would through GOG. It looks to be the case there anyway. Basically going through the update Fallout London from the GOG library and so on in these 5 steps we have here. If you've installed via a mod manager though, that might be a little bit different, so I would say either that one's up to you to figure out, or go look for somebody who has a bit more expertise on this sort of thing, because currently the best option I can see is probably uninstalling Fallout London and then reinstalling it. Sort of doing that whole second half, I suppose, last third, something to that effect, of the install manually again. But that may or may not be necessary. I may be overcomplicating it, but as I say, I'm far from an expert on this, so better off inquiring with those who are. But let's have a look at some of the changes, because there is some fun stuff here. This is a hotfix rather than a patch, so it is a smallish one, and yet we have a few bits and pieces. So there's some fun stuff. We have fixes for Broken Angel. This is right at the beginning. When you get to the end of that and you have a short train journey ending in the train crash, you get a couple of debuffs. That has not been working properly, apparently for quite some time, because significant amounts of early game balancing are based upon this not actually working properly. So there are a number of changes here. Specifically, they fixed an issue with how a player's health is handled after the train crash, which disproportionately lowered the maximum HP of characters with already high health or endurance level. So if you put a load of points into endurance, you were being effectively hamstrung more than they intended. But it should be lowering your current HP. So essentially, what it should be doing is doing direct damage as opposed to lowering the maximum. So it should now be doing that. And to offset the fact that that obviously is a substantial step towards making the start of the game easier, which is not their idea. They do intend for Fallout London to be substantially more challenging than your average Fallout experience, or at least the recent Fallout experiences. They have adjusted the 2 debuffs that we get instead. So Lab Rat and Railway Spine are now substantially more serious from the look of it. The overall effect is to make the start of the game a little bit easier, but those debuffs will actually hit you a little bit harder to kind of offset the balance change there. So, following on from that, we have a whole bunch of quest fixes that have sort of varying levels of impact. Some of them are smaller, some of them are larger. Apparently they're adding the ferryman to the player friend faction to allow for a few accidental hits. I'm not sure if that means that one hit was enough to aggro the ferryman. I wouldn't think so, because I'm pretty sure I threw a Molotov at him. But nonetheless, there's a tweak there, so hopefully that should avoid any inadvertent consequences. There's a whole bunch of little bits and pieces for different quests here in varying levels of impact, so probably worth going through if you've got a decent distance through the mod already. If, like me, you're relatively early on, a lot of this won't apply. Got things like Swan and Mitre, so this is the first of the Vagabonds quests. Yep, there's a few little bits where that could become stuck and you could not advance. Now those should be fixed and it should roll on quite nice and easily. Crystalline Photon Agitator objective has been clarified. Yeah, it's if you're not familiar with the sort of general structure of the Fallout 4, I suppose, then that one could throw people off, I think, so hopefully it will be a bit clearer. Got some dialogue fixes, some stuff to watch, stop NPCs wandering off, a few quest rewards that are given correctly, and a few other bits and pieces as well that I'm not going to dive too deeply into. I would recommend just sort of scanning through this and looking at the quest names. That way you know whether or not you've encountered them, and hopefully can avoid spoilers if you haven't, because obviously there's a few, not heavy spoilers, but little implications of spoilers in there as well. So moving on to the gameplay stuff, we have gameplay and stat tweaks. So perks, traits and afflictions, we've got the Lab Rat and Railway Spine afflictions are now more serious, as we covered before. Beer mat stat multipliers are fixed. So yeah, around the game world there are beer mats you can find that give you certain benefits. These are quite well known now to be bugged in varying degrees, or they were prior to this fix, which now makes them function as intended. So if you have the beer mat fix mod installed, you will need to pull that out along with this hotfix, because yeah, you won't need it anymore. We have a number of localization, I suppose you could call them adjustments as well, that involve things like aluminium now being called aluminium instead of the Americanized version of it, which we shall not utter here. And it gives the correct resource in when you scrap it now, or break it down, which is also a win. Cigarette buffs have been increased, so you get that XP buff for a little bit longer, well, twice as long to be exact. And the debuff, if you happen to have picked up an addiction, has been reduced as well, so instead of being 1 agility, 2 endurance, thus making you substantially more vulnerable, it is now 1 agility and 1 intelligence. Bit of a shift, but okay. Upgrading your Luger 9mm pistol just got a little bit more difficult because the silencer now requires rank 2 of gun nut, which it did not before. There's a few little bits like that they'll need to tweak, but that one's made its way in here. Some weapon changes down here. Damage has been changed on a number of things. Molotovs are going to be less effective, both when you use them and they are used against you from the look of that. They'll do less damage and they'll do it over a smaller area. Lewis Gun, MG42 Bren added to heavy weapon category. A whole load of other little bits and pieces to do with changes there as well. Bones Beans cans. They have changed that so that when you empty the can by eating it, it now actually weighs less, as opposed to the situation before where somehow the empty can weighed more than the full one. So yeah, there's a nice little fix. That should result in carry weight dipping if you're anything like me and have an inventory full of those things. Foxes have had a slight nerf to their base attack damage, so they're slightly less vicious than they used to be. Naval minebots and walkers have had their health nerfed, so they will be slightly less tanky. And legendary dryads have been fixed, whatever that means. There's some other NPC tweaks here. Ladybugs have been correctly named to ladybirds, except no substitutes. Churchill should no longer inexplicably morph into dog meat when dismissed and recruited again. That's always nice. Turning around and suddenly finding your bulldog has become a German Shepherd is a bit of a confusing scenario. So there's a few item tweaks down here as well. We've got some workshop items added if you're building in the mod, which is cool. I'm looking forward to doing that. Gas marks no longer print debug notifications in top of the camera up on switch, so yeah. Should clean up the mess on the screen a little bit. Vault Suit packages are now renamed to shopping bags. So the appropriate texture was in place, but the name was not for some weird reason. And you can no longer get Vault Suits from them. Cash registers are appropriately named tills, and non-adjustable wrenches have been named spanners. If they are adjustable, they are now they're still called adjustable wrenches. Although I'm convinced it should still be an adjustable spanner myself. Technically both are correct, but you know, I'll stick with the one I grew up on. So, pneumatic cylinders have had their names adjusted, fixed in some way, guessing a spelling error or something. Flintlock rifles have been fixed, so if you upgrade to a laser rifle from the lesser version, you now get the full effects of a laser musket. So, crafting laser muskets, interesting. and various items have been added to the scrap lists that were previously unscrappable. So yeah, a whole bunch of stuff, particularly around the tennis museum, that you can now scrap. There are a few bits and pieces to dialogue fixed as well, and audio. We've got some missing dialogue been added in, some more dialogue for a number of different characters have been tweaked and improved. Some holotape audio has been added, that's always a win. Holotape with no audio is a bit of a pencil with no point on it. And we've got a few other bits and pieces down here. Churchill's footstep volume has been fixed, and he's lumbering around a little bit less, which is fun, as well as a few other bits and pieces. So there we go. That should give you a general idea of what is in this particular hotfix. The team have managed to get a surprising amount of stuff out impressively quickly on here, and as per, they're doing great work. So hats off to the Team FOLON team members for a very impressive achievement. Hopefully, I'm going to find out over the course of this weekend just how simple the update actually is to deploy. And as I say, I'm not really an expert on such things, so I'm sure others will do a better job of explaining how that works if you've done something like I have and installed via a mod manager. So hopefully there'll be a simple way of doing that, or simpler than I currently have in my head anyway. But yeah, the instructions are there for you earlier on in the video if you do want to check them out. And of course over on the Discord. Yeah, interestingly, jumping over to the Fallout London website, the details on how to upgrade and deploy the hotfix are not actually listed on there. The instructions are only over here on Discord, so I will still recommend you head over there if you want to join the Discord. It's a good way to keep up to date with what they're doing and patches and things like that. But yeah, the link is available on the Fallout London website if you want to do that. Otherwise, I have no doubt this will be covered extensively by other people very, very soon. Anyway, before I keep going around in circles, I hope you found that interesting and informative. I'm looking forward to diving into Fallout London this weekend. I'm looking forward to diving into patching it at the very least. Should be good fun. If you did like the video, please consider dropping subs and likes. I do appreciate it. Hit that notification bell as well, and then we'll keep up to date with every upload. Join us for live streams if you get a chance as well. We are, of course, playing Fallout London alongside Fallout 76 and a little bit of the Stalker games at the moment as well, which has been good fun. So if you're interested in joining us for that, then do stop by. And if you're really interested in supporting the channel memberships are available down below as well. For now, thank you very much for watching. I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.